G'day, welcome back. Tonight we're going to be looking at the ATEM Mini, in particular a couple of pro functions that you might not know about and a couple of little things that can really help you out when you're using this thing and trying to get the best out of it. Also a couple of things that aren't there. Maybe they'll come later, maybe not, but we'll talk about that anyway. Okay, so I've got the ATEM running here. I will just quickly flip to another camera, and I can do that just by pushing one button, and it cuts straight away to the second camera I've got hanging down above me here. I'll show you that camera by cutting back, and I can just bring that one down. You can see there it is. It just gives me a top-down view of my desk and the ATEM and everything. Here's the top-down view. It means that I can show you all of this sort of stuff in the neat flashing lights. Always like flashing lights, and you can make things go different colours, and all of that is just on here, nice and convenient. I can cut to another camera, which means I can turn this way, so I can be talking to you over here, and then just to highlight a point I can go, see what I mean? That's quite cool, isn't it? It's really cool. And I can also cut to my computer screen, which is up over here, and that's a fourth input. And on here I can show you some stuff. This is part of what I'm going to be showing you in just a minute. Okie dokie, so the first thing we're going to be looking at is I had a question about preview mode and multi-view mode, which you can get on the Big Pro broadcast kit, which I've got sitting over here next to me. It's really good, but it's a bit cluggy to use sometimes. So instead, this thing here is just really practical for this kind of video and for carting around, and great for plugging some basic cameras in that give you a really good result. Now, this type of cutting where you just push one button and you go from one camera to the next, to the next, to the next, or one video source to the next, to the next, to the next, they don't have to be cameras, is what we call a bus cut. So all of the video sources are on a bus, for a lack of a better term. It's just what it's called. And you can just cut directly between those video sources. Sometimes, however, you want to be able to see what it is that you're cutting to before you do. In that case, what you would have is a program image, which is this one that you and I are looking at now, and a preview image of the next one that you're planning to cut to. And the ATEM Mini lets you do that as well. This is what we call program preview cutting. Let's have a quick look now at what program preview switching is and how it works. First of all, let's define program and preview. Program is this image here that we're looking at now. It's on both of these monitors, and it's the video image that is going live out. It's what you're streaming. It's the current live TV program, you can think of it as. Preview is the ability to see and define an angle that you're going to switch to next. So it's what's going to be the program one in the future after you've done a cut or a fade. That's what you will go into. At the moment, I'm in cut bus mode, and if I just hit the next button on the switcher here, then you can see it cuts to another angle. If I hit it again, it cuts directly to another angle, and back again, and we're back to this angle. That's just a straight cut. Now what I'm going to do is configure the ATEM software control to use one of these monitors here as a preview monitor, and to tell the ATEM to go into program preview mode. Okay, what we need to do now is configure the ATEM Mini through the ATEM setup software on my Mac. So I'll just switch to the Mac now over here, and I'm launching the ATEM setup window. There we go. I've got that there, and at the moment you can see that is on cut bus. This is meaning that we're just cutting straight from camera angle to angle to angle, different inputs. I'm going to click on Program Preview now. That's going to change the switching mode. And I'll hit Save. That's all you need to do here. That's saved now, and I can close the ATEM setup. Then I'm going to come back to the ATEM software control here and click on Output. And I'm going to change the secondary output to Preview. That means now that the second output that I've got, which is the one that comes through the HDMI feed, is going to now show us the preview image, not the primary image. So if I click on Preview here on the keypad, you can see it turns that button green. The program is red, the preview is green, and now I can see the preview image here on this monitor, and this one here is showing me the program monitor. The program monitor I've got working, by the way, through QuickTime, viewing this as a webcam from the Mac and then feeding that out as the second monitor on the Mac. I can show you more about that later on. What I'm going to do now is change the preview a couple of times, so I can say, well, I want to preview a couple of these different views and choose which one I want to use. That one. Then I can say, well, how do I want to get to that one? I can either just do a straight cut, which I can do here, and that switches the preview and program colors around here. So you see now channel 2 is the program and channel 1 is green, and that's now preview. When you swap from preview and program, you do a cut and or a transition, it just swaps them over. So I can now say, well, let's go to the next preview is channel 3. I'll cut to that one, and there you go. It's done the same again. I can go back to 1 and cut, and it's done the same again. So you can see down here that this is my preview and this is program. So this is what's actually coming out through the USB into, in this case, QuickTime, but it could be OBS or any other software that you've got for recording or streaming. Okay, so that's easy, and the same deal goes if you're going to use a transition. In the case here, I've got a 1 second dip, and it'll do that for me, and switches back. So that's how the preview and program switching works. It means that you can pre-select it, then cut, pre-select it, then cut, rather than just cutting blind. Now this is really useful when you want to quickly check to make sure that your lighting on your preview is okay. You might want to insert a graphic or something. You might want to do something else over it, you know, have a different key or effect, or use the picture-in-picture, anything like that. You can do all of that and test it here first and then cut to it. It's particularly useful if you're using the software, because as you can see here in the software, I might choose to do something a bit more tricky, like tie in a keyer. And if I've got a green screen behind me or something, I might want to put a new image behind me on the green screen. Something like that. I can test it first by using the all of these bits and pieces over here. I'm not going to go into the details of setting up green screens right now, but I can test all of that and just check it on my preview screen before going live. Simple enough, really, kind of. If you don't want to be using all that and you're happy just to go hard cuts, especially if you've got a setup like mine here where I've got the 3 cameras and I can see all of their individual monitors straight away, which has its own difficulty in making sure you don't constantly look at the monitors on them. You just get used to seeing them out the corner of your eye. When you've got these, I can just do a straight cut, and quite often that's enough for me. But if you're using any effects, transitions, overlays, graphics or anything like that, you want to make sure that they're good before you go to them, or you might have somebody else actually doing the cutting for you. That's another trick. Then this is just a powerful tool that's here if you want it. Another really good thing is that you can put still images in here and cut to them as well. I don't have any in here at the moment. So that pretty much answers the question that I had from somebody: can you use program preview mode on the ATEM Mini? The answer is yeah, of course you can. You've just got to know a couple of little tricks to get it working. Can you use multi-view? Now multi-view is another question altogether. That's where you have something, the screen that kind of looks like this. As you can see, it's got multiple cameras up on there, and it's got your preview and program views as well, so you can see all of your monitors and your program and your preview all on the same screen. The ATEM Mini doesn't have that, at least it doesn't have it yet. All of the other Blackmagic ATEMs do have it, so I'm also thinking that there's the potential that they decided to not put it in to keep the hardware at a relative level of simplicity or something. We'll might not know about that one for a while until Blackmagic actually tell us. Hopefully they're finding a way of getting it working, or it's a future feature that wasn't quite ready so they didn't release it. We won't know just yet. Anyway, that's about all I've got to show you on this today. If you found this useful, please subscribe, because I'll be doing more of these. If you want to see other videos I've made, here's this one here and this one here. Go have a look at those, you might find them interesting. And I will see you again shortly. See you later.